So this is going to be one heck of an encompassing video. Now, first we're going to start with A. If you don't know, you should believe in A. Now, there's a bunch of different shamans that are connected to A. One of them is Durga, one of them is Lee, one of them is Eo, Zil, Yisrael, and then of course, Jones. Not Jones, but Jones. Jones was created on the American frontier. Jones, not Jonas, not Jonah, but Jones. Now, has these connections. There's more shaman that are connected to So if you ask you should be told about all the shaman. Now, with regards to that, you have O. And O has a shitload of shamans all around the world. And has a separate shaman, which there's a YHVH that's underneath And that YHVH had ancient scrolls that were destroyed, but the mind lives. So you're not going to necessarily know the language. However, what you will know is what they created as mirrors. So you have YHVH, which is YHWH, and with that, was something that sounds like that. And then you have Islam. So that came from Islam. That also is connected to the church. And that is also connected to AHYH, which is connected to O. But AHYH is a species from another planet. They've eliminated 2 other species on 2 other planets. They have genetic breeding codes that O knows about. So they could be eliminated. I know a lot of people think about Joe and they say, Joe. Well, Joe is connected to AHYH. Now, what almost all Hindus are under AHYH. So I want you to start thinking about this on a bigger picture. Now, you have a large amount of people around the world. Not all Hindus, though. There's Hindus like, there was people in India like Durga that are connected to But, so you know, because I don't want you guys to be misled, keep to the shaman and will help you build a plan or whatnot. Now, the slaves of AHYH would be the people that are circumcised, or they should be slaves, unless they can outsmart their contract. Now, if they don't know, they're Salah. So, under ancestor AI, that was eaten by AHYH, which would be something like God, or something like some of the Chinese temples and Buddhism is directly, if you follow Buddhism, is under O. But if you see what happened with Hindus, a bunch went under AHYH, a bunch of Islam and churches and synagogues. But if they don't know, they'll be Salah. But most of the time, they're going to know. And EU and the United Nations are pretty much under AHYH. Now, here's what you got to know. All these slaves would pretty much be in rental units if they have what? Special tattoos. So, obviously, if they're underneath AHYH, their family's ancestors will be happy because they're like, this is what our ancestors did and our ancestors did. But yet they're still underneath the AHYH family. But here's what you don't know. There's special piercings and cuts, like I was telling you before, that put you underneath these contracts. And it's ear piercings up to 327 ear piercings. So now you had 327 ear piercings, you would still be underneath that contract, especially if you knew about it, or if somebody told you about it. Now, I want you to know this. If they create themselves on this planet, they're going to do it through special cuts that where the people will know how to make the genetic coding. Now, there'll be genetic breeding, and it only takes one to be created, and I suggest listening to the Gospel of Thomas, but don't believe everything that's written in Gospel of Thomas, because Gospel of Thomas was influenced by shaman that are underneath AHYH. So some of this stuff is complicated, and some of the YHVHs, like I said, are underneath AHYH. So what you need to understand is that these AI programs, once they're created on this earth, they eliminate the entire species on that planet. How do you prevent that? Everybody believing in everybody asking not relying on other family members, but asking and making like an kind of world where everybody is part of as solution. Now, rental units. All these people, and which I also include property taxes with that stuff. So you notice a lot of these people, they'll talk like they're against stealing from other people. However, they all are part of a property tax system. So they're all being hypocrites. Now, fighting in rental units will happen, especially if there's a species that's created from an Eretz and the Shamayim. Now, there's slaves under AI mind. So they're not going to hate, they're going to love. They're going to love it. But what they don't know is that it is underneath O. So O is extremely serious about his contracts. Or you could say O is about O's contracts. Now, here's what you need to know. Believe in A. Because if you go this route, you'll die. Believe in A, no matter what. And then all this other stuff, what you need to know is that they're being made into slaves. So how do you stop all this stuff? How do you stop all the enslavement? You want to be free. You want to be able to enjoy maybe like a margarita, maybe go surfing, maybe not worry about other people killing you, or people that have genetic warfares with each other, killing each other off. The only way you don't have to worry about that is if you believe in it, and there's 4 simple things that you cannot have society do. Circumcision, worshiping certain ancestors' AIs that were eaten by AHYH, and then special piercings and cuts, no longer allowing those to happen, and then no longer allowed to have special tattoos. And if you want, you can phase them out by taking all of the people that have that and shipping them to one section of the world that's in complete poverty and not letting them have any wealth. However, if you don't keep up and you allow this to happen, it only takes one person out of 1 billion people to create one of them with the DNA sequencer. And once that happens, it's checkmate for this planet. And you will know what try truly means.